Okay, again, this week there's some links to the UX 52 weeks UX design reading. And the first one, again, is about visual hierarchy. And we've been talking about this for the past couple weeks, again, about how to structure information so that certain things are more important than other things, maybe, or how to visually lay something out so that it's pleasing. We haven't really started talking about a grid yet, but I think today when we start designing a contact list, I'll be talking a little bit more about what is important, what is the more important parts of the contact list. Is it the name of the person, or is it the location of where the person's at, and so on. So, you're going to have to make some decisions of maybe what is bigger, what is smaller. Kind of down here, they talk about visual weight. And basically, are things larger, more important? Do you use all uppercase letters maybe to emphasize something? Do you use color? And he talks about in this reading about the blue. If you remember back to the days when we first started using the internet and World Wide Web, remember all the links are blue, right, with a blue underline. And then when you clicked on it and you came back, what color was it? Purple, right? So, we got used to that. We learned that. And, you can, really, color is an important part of the visual weight. And is often utilized to draw attention to actions that can be taken. That's what he was just talking about, the blue links and so on. The other thing to keep in mind is at least in here, is they talk about line weight a lot. And I know Gene has a whole typography class, but today I'm going to have like at least 2 or 3 lines of text in my members list. And, understanding the different fonts and how they are used will really help you utilize on the screen. By default, and we're just going to talk, this is kind of general information. By default, we use a lot of line height, right, in online reading compared to what you see in the newspaper. And the reason why mostly is that, this is previous too, is that the resolution of monitors wasn't always very good. Right? The 72 dpi. Remember cathode ray tube and stuff. So always having a lot of line spacing was always important into screen design. Again, the line spacing would be the line between the baseline, is basically this is the baseline. The other thing to keep in mind is the font itself. Sans serif fonts tend to have larger X heights or smaller lowercase letters than a serif font. And of course, I used to use Verdana all the time online. Anybody use Verdana? Verdana is a font that's a sans serif font that was very big, large, bold kind. The downfall, of course, of sans serif is that serif fonts are easier to read because of the little characters here, right? Like look at this R right here. See the little line underneath it, right? This is a serif font that has little things. It's easier for your eye to flow across the screen. That's why we use that in print. So you're balancing that. Again, most line heights are pretty large online. And we can control that in CSS, right? And in web design or so on. So they talk about that in this area right here. Of course, you have headings and so on, subheadings. So that was the reading for that page. This page really is just a story of him being at a restaurant and being confused on which receipt he needed to give to the waitress or waiter or whatever. And he said, "Oh, what a great experience I had." And then finally I got to the bill and I was confused on, and he got frustrated, right? So any little, and that's why it says it's the little things, right? You might have a great experience with an app or doing something, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong and you get frustrated, and you don't know what to do. So you get frustrated. So there, he thought of a better way. Take this copy, leave this copy, instead of this little text that says top copy merchant, bottom copy customer. So we talked about that, and then of course the last reading of this week was mostly talking about the approach to UX design. Um, Mostly that you need to make it people feel comfortable using it and not being deceived. He talks about you ever type in the wrong address and you get to a spamming kind of website. Ever type in Netflix wrong and you get to that website where it asks you, hey, you can win a free iPad? You get to that one. You type in you spell Netflix wrong. There's a website and it has just one box in the middle and says you want a prize, free iPad or something like that, and it looks like Netflix does, and it has just a box in the middle. Put in your email address. Don't do that. But that's what he's talking about. How he went to, there's some phishing websites out there and things that look similar, and you always want to be online when you're surfing and buying something. You want to buy from a reputable place. That's why Amazon is so successful. People trust Amazon. Hey, my package is going to show up at my house. Somebody steals it from my front porch, I call Amazon and they'll send me another one, right? Hopefully they do, I don't know. So you trust Amazon. And so he talks a little bit about that here, right? Then here at the bottom, he talks about the 10 principles of UX design. So let's go through them real quick and then we'll get started with our computer stuff today and our Again, the first UX design principle is the experience belongs to the users. Designers do not create experiences, they create artifacts to experiences. This makes all the difference. Since experience is subjective, it cannot be designed in quite the same way that a physical product can. However, that does not mean we can't design a framework within which people experience our product and service. I think the whole point is that, you're building something, but somebody else is going to be using it, basically. The holistic experience means that it's the whole experience, not just one screen. Right? If you're buying something on Amazon, you have to go through a few clicks to get there, right? It's the whole experience of you being on Amazon. Searching, finding the product, reading the reviews, right? You wouldn't buy anything that has 1 star, would you? Maybe, I don't know. Right? The star review, we haven't even talked about that yet. Whoosh. Today we're going to look at what is the Yelp, right? Yelp, that has a lot of star reviews. Great user experience are invisible. Later on we're going to talk about the flow. It's a concept in UX design about how, once you're in a user experience, you just keep going without having to constantly think about what you're doing. Just like my car analogy before, right? You get in your car, you turn on the key, and you just go. You don't think about braking. You don't think about steering. It's natural. And that's a great experience is something. Again, even on Amazon, you go there, you search, you click, you know where to click, you know where to buy. I don't know. UX is a life cycle, which means it's evolving. Something that will, in the Pinterest guy, did he talk about that as well, right? He was talking about how the design is changing. Content is king. In an age when it's easy to create products and content quickly, the missing piece becomes context. How does what we create fit into the lives of the people we create it for? Today my list is going to be for travelers. I know last class we talked about, and I tried to pair you up a little bit with some other people. And today my list will be a travel website, and the content is going to be important. And why are we putting this content there? Is it important to the user? Great experience is about control, making sure you can undo something. You ever go to an app or do something on your phone or on a website, and you say, I want to undo, and you can't undo? That's pretty frustrating, right? Or going back. UX is social. I think ever since Web 2.0 came out, we've all been thinking about, more of a social experience. If you think, before Web 2.0, and if you don't know what that term means, basically there was a conference, back in the early 2000s called Web 2.0 conference, and of course it was kind of the social media revolution where, you know, we as users of these experience now can share our experience with other people. And now it's integrated in what we do today now, right? Most websites, most apps, most things, you're able to share data, share your experience, where previous generations it wasn't always that way as far as web design and things like that. Psychology is primary. Software is getting easy to use all the time. Whether the psychology edge will win. I don't know how to explain that. UX is a conversation, like marketing is a conversation. More of a story, I think, is what they mean by that. You know, you're making up an experience for people. And again, great experiences are simple, simplistic, and so on. So those are kind of the principles that were listed here in the UX design here at week 4. Any comments about that? Are you getting more sophisticated in your interface? Do you think design's getting better like the Pinterest guy? Well, I think if you think about the video that we saw 2 weeks ago about the guy who says, you know, design is at the top, right? You know, design is something that is integrated at the beginning of a product now and not at the end, right? Engineers and industrial designers, they would build a product and then they would bring the designers and the marketing people later on after the product is made. But nowadays, the designer is up front. Remember that video from 2 weeks ago? Something like that. Okay, let's move on. So, hopefully you got through all that reading there. In addition, where was I? Here's the videos from, again, last class. And then I did upload the one we did last class. It's not here yet. I'll put it in this list here. And what we're talking about today, I'll put it in that list there. Kind of left off last class about making a contact list. And I thought about this for a long time about why. You know, why does we want to have an assignment of making a contact list? Well, it's just a way of organizing a group of information into a consistent layout and feel where you have one member and another member very similar in design but maybe different content, right? And so I thought about it, and last year we kind of just made a list, you know, kind of like this. And I was trying to teach, you know, basically computer skills when I had this assignment last year. You know, we basically made something simple like this, you know, because I was teaching the kind of computer skills. But, you know, I wanted to be a little bit more of a thought process and more of, you know, why are we doing it? Like the problem solving video, right? The guy's talking about a problem. So I'm going to go through my way of making a members list and why I would do that with you right now. Let me get my research. I did some research. I have to go to my email and get my research here. And I'll use Photoshop today for some of it and so on. Not Sketch yet. We'll get into Sketch though. I will talk about that. But we will go through. Let me get to my email. I have to get my notes. Hold on. Notes. Hey, you want a job? There's a graphic design intern right there. St. Andrew's Episcopal Church School over there in Saratoga. Looking for a graphic design intern. There you go. I don't know. That email just popped up. There's a phone number right there. You want to write it down? Here. It's this church school thing at the end of the street there by the traffic light. There you go. Might be fun, something for you to do. Okay. Where's my notes? Oh, here's my notes. Whoosh. I love Microsoft Word. In addition, on October 3rd, I think I already mentioned this last class. I'll tell you the time. But in Sue's class, and Sue, the teacher of the Illustrator and app design kind of thing, or the application class, she's going to have a guest speaker from Samsung. I think I talked about that last time. I think they probably make the remote stuff. I don't know. Remember, I complained about my remote and how horrible it is. So I will find a time, because she didn't really give me a time. She said, in my class, they're going to be a guest speaker. Her class is at 10:55. Now, October 3rd is a Wednesday. So it's probably like 11 o'clock October 3rd. But I will confirm with her. I think that would be good for you to come and listen. Guest speaker? Okay, so we kind of left last class kind of vague. I kind of gave you a vague, and the reason why I kind of made it kind of vague is I want you to come up with an idea of how to build a list of people. Members is what I was visioning. And the reason why is so that we can practice our design skills, but also solve a problem. I see a problem, at least for me, in traveling. And I'm going to use Yosemite. If you go to the Yosemite, the National Park website for Yosemite, it's great. It has information about, where you can hike, what you can do, and things like that. But it's all generated by the National Park people. There's no user input. I was thinking in the Web 2.0 days of today, wouldn't it be great if I was able to contribute? And I don't know why they're not doing that today. So my list, what I'm going to design today with you all, right now we'll do it together, is a list for members of the Yosemite National Park website. Okay? What I want you to do with your teammate is just come up with an idea like that. It can be any kind of member, but think of how a website and an app could be better if there was user input. I have an assignment in my computer science class, and they read the Maker's Book. There's a book called the Maker's Book. And one of the parts of the Maker's Book is that I give them an assignment. What if this product had multiple people working on it instead of one person? And it's kind of the same thing. We have these websites where it's just one person or one team building it, but there's no other people contributing to it. So let's look at the website real quick. And this is the site I was looking at. I'm here at the Yosemite National Park, and I know last semester we were doing national park stuff. We won't always do national park stuff. I'm sorry. But again, I was thinking here, wouldn't it be great if there was a part here where a person can add information? What is the information they could be? Well, you could be a member, right? We'll talk about being a member. Is it a picture of the person there, or is it an avatar? The term avatar would be like a character, right? Or is it just words? So I thought about that. So there's really no real social aspect, except for down here where it says stay connected. So when I came down here to the bottom part of the website for this park, I came here to Facebook, and I clicked on that, and I said, yeah, I'm going to there. So I go there, and there's some Facebook things. But again, this is run by the National Park Service, so some people who join might be able to post stuff, but it's more of we're great, it's a wonderful place. It's not really member generated. So this is a little bit. I like the you see the picture of the person. Look at the bold text with the person's name. Remember we talked about emphasis, right? And then there's some text, and then there's a link, which is what I think, if somebody's a member and they're sharing their experience somewhere there, I like the idea of a photo. So again, using this sort of idea of Facebook, but the problem with Facebook is that, people are scared of Facebook somewhat nowadays, right? Do you want to share your information on Facebook? Anybody can, I haven't posted anything on Facebook in 2 years. I'm tired of giving them all my information. And everybody else. So that's a downfall of this kind of sharing thing, is that now people don't trust it. Oops, I left the website. And then of course the Twitter is quite nice as far as you can, you get your quick information. People can share. But again, it's run by the National Park Service. You see most of the people tweeting are from there, right? I'm looking for more of a member experience. Other people posting their photo saying, oh, look at this place in the park. It's a great place. You might want to do it too, right? That's where a member would come in. I'm looking for user-generated content. So Twitter's great in that you can see that, but it's not really user-generated. And then, I keep closing that because I guess I have to go back. Then Instagram is quite interesting as well as being able to share content. One of the downfalls, though, of Instagram is it's, again, mostly just pictures, and then you'd have to click on it to get to more information, right? Or a like. You can give your little heart there, right? So I don't know. This is not the experience I'm thinking of either. I think it's got some good data, but it's not the experience I'm thinking. And then, of course, YouTube is everybody's favorite, especially for cat videos, right? We love the cat playing the piano, don't we? So again, another great thing about YouTube is that you can share. But again, this is put on by there. But you'll see there's 32,907 subscribers. Woo. The nice thing about people sharing information on YouTube is you get to see how many other people have viewed it, how many, when was it posted, and so on. So those are some of the things I might include in my members thing. So doing a little research like this has given me my some ideas of what I would include. So so that is YouTube. So again, at the bottom of their page, and I lost it again. How did I keep losing that? There. So my problem here is I would like to see more user-generated content on the Yosemite National Park website where people, average Joe, can share their experience and maybe make recommendations of how somebody else might go to, somewhere in the park, right? I'm thinking that, hey, I went to this part in the park. Here, you might like that too, right? That's user-generated. There's none there right now. So let's talk about some websites that actually do that. Probably one of the ones, at least for travel, because I was focusing on travel, would be TripAdvisor. Anybody use TripAdvisor? Yeah, okay, so TripAdvisor is very similar to my concept of how they could put this on the national park site. So on TripAdvisor, you get user can post their experience on a trip, right? So you got the picture of the person or an avatar or something like that. You get their name, their username, whatever this level contributor means, how many times I guess they post to TripAdvisor, and then you get, of course, some generated information. You get some text that talks a little bit about, what they experienced and whatever. You get a title at the top. You get the date, again, just like in the YouTube, how long ago? Is it recent? You ever, go and read something that's 10 years old? You're like, why am I reading it? Especially on, Google search. Google search comes up and it keeps giving me data from like 10 years ago. I don't want data from 7 years ago. Then, of course, they got to reply, and is it appropriate? And so I thought, this is kind of what I'm thinking that would be good user-generated kind of member thing. TripAdvisor. And of course, this is a website that advertises. That's why you see all these things. But here you go. You'll see the list down there. Okay. These are people responding to the person above. But again, it's just a member list. Text-wise, we haven't really talked about text and how much text to include. But, most people don't read this much stuff. Something simple like that. But again, you see the person, their username, where they're located is another one I think is good for a member, right? And so on. So this was a good one. The other one I think I was looking at was it Yelp? Yelp. Yelp will give you user experience. It's user generated supposedly, but of course you can pay to be on Yelp, so don't think Yelp and Yelp you can pay them to take away bad stuff too, right? They got sued for that. Was it them who got sued? Somebody got sued for that recently. for removing stuff. But you can write to them. And so if we go in, restaurants in Willow Glen, there you go. Is there a way to search? How do I search? I have to log in. Okay, here we go. Oh, look, ads. Ads. Again, you have some kind of image. You could think of these as being members, right? They're restaurants, basically, right? But they're members. They're members of a group. So you have an image showing a plate of, I don't know, probably not best just to show, it's hard to show a decent plate of food in such a small area. But then you got a name. You got your stars, which is important to this list, okay? So think about this members list. What's important to this members list is how many stars you got. That's right away. And look at the colors, too. It's red right away. How many reviews, and so that helps a lot. The more reviews, the more. You see, everything has 4 stars. They're really not, everything's going to have 4 stars. Everything has 4 stars. Everything, a little bit more than 4 there, a little bit more than 4 there. But, nothing has 1 stars, do they? Again, it tells you what type of food. There's dollar signs that tell you how much it cost. And then you get a little quote from somebody who said, hey, this is a great place. And then you get the address of where it's at. And then, of course, find a table. So something like this is a great list. It's common. We're used to seeing things like that. Again, the star thing is the same with Amazon, right? Because in Amazon, we look at stars as well. Is it worth the long wait? Don't know. This one has 3.5. Uh-oh. Would you go to a restaurant that had 1 star? I don't know. I remember my introduction to the kind of the rating was when the first time I went to Europe, and the hotel rating, right? It was just staying at the 1-star hotel in Italy. It's scary, but star rating. So this would be a list too. So I'm looking for you to come up with a list like this. It doesn't have to be members. I know it said members, but something like this would be fine for your assignment. What I'm looking for you to do is organize information in a group like this. Let me finish in my national park, and we'll do one together. And then you guys can start. So that was what I was looking at. Again, I'm looking at research. TripAdvisor. Yeah. So I did some research, and I'm going to get to the board. So we'll write on the board. I'll plan there. So today I'm just going to come up with an idea on the board of my Yosemite membership. Where's my markers? Oh, we have a whole bunch of markers there. The dog will right through all of these. That was fun, wasn't it? Okay, so if you remember the guy from the Pinterest guy, right? He was talking about the problem. There's an L in there. Problem. So my problem is I want to have members on Yosemite. Yosemite. Is it E? S-I? Is it S-I-M-E-T? E-S-E-M-I-T-E. Yosemite National Park website. So that's very important. And the national park has a certain design template that design template. Okay, so if you've never seen and looked at the national park design template, I can include the link for you. We usually look at that in the design class. So they have a design template that you have to follow. So if you're going to build anything for them, right, you have to have certain font size, certain way to use the logo, and so on. So my idea here is that we would have members at the Yosemite National Park website, but do I have to follow the design template? We'll go there and look at that. It's not important right now. What's important is what I would include. So again, the first thing I would include is, are we going to have an image? Is that image going to be a photo? Or is it going to be avatar? You know what Avatar is. You've all seen that famous movie, right? So the avatar usually is, it could be a symbol that represents a person, right? Or it could be something like that in the photo. The downfall of an avatar is you don't know who the person is. Some people are afraid of avatars because they think they're computers, right? Where photo, hey, that looks like a person to me, doesn't it? So I would like to see an image on my members list. Second thing I would like to see is the user name. And why do I have a username usually? So that you can share. That's the name that you share, right? If you contribute to something, you usually say, oh, this person posted this or that person posted that, right? Does it have to be the person's name? No. If you look at the username, your username is not always the same, right? As your name. You can make it up. My son makes up all kinds of crazy names. Greatest Minecraft player ever or whatever, you know. The third one I'm going to include in there would be the location. So it doesn't necessarily need to be very specific, but it would be the location of where the person is. You know, maybe it's a tourist who goes to Yosemite and they're from Germany. That's what I meant by that. Or maybe it's somebody from Santa Clara and they go to Yosemite. So it would be nice to see a location in my members list. So I would say place of where they're from. Okay. The fourth one in my list is I'm going to include, I want this to be short. Nobody wants to read anything. And the most important thing that I see that a member of a group of people sharing their experiences at Yosemite would be, what was their greatest thing? What stood out? So how would you name that? How would I post something that stood out? I want one greatest thing. Would it be? How would I name that? How would I describe that is what I'm trying to say. I'm a member. I have a username. I have a location. So right now, I'm thinking, you know, here's my member. My username. I liked in the one, in the TripAdvisor where it had the name very small. The username isn't that important unless you're sharing it, right? The picture was really kind of big, right? With a happy person. Right? The picture's kind of big, but the username was very small. And that's not really important, so I'm going to leave that kind of small as well. And then location, kind of like on the TripAdvisor, they had it down there from, Santa Clara. And if you notice on the TripAdvisor, these were actually two different colors, I believe, as well. This one was kind of even downplayed, where this was a little bit bolder. I kind of like that. So, I have all this, but what I would like to see next to it is, maybe a quote or a location, what was the greatest experience? And even, I would like them to be able to post a picture even, right? Because we all have cell phones now. Wouldn't it be great? I'm a member. I'm in Yosemite. Greatest waterfall ever. Bridal Veil Falls. Is that it, right? I love Bridal Veil Falls, right? And then, boom, show a picture. And then what else would I include? So this would be, the best thing. I don't want to just be location. Well, I guess it could be a location. But what I'm thinking is, it's going to be the best breakfast ever is that what's that restaurant there? The hotel in Yosemite? The Awana? I think they changed the name, but it's Majestic now. It used to be the Awana or something like that, right? But if you ever go to you go there, you're there for breakfast. Go for breakfast there. It's going to cost you $90. but you know, it's worth every penny just to experience it, right? There's a giant big room, giant big tables, high ceilings, artwork everywhere, beautiful windows. Look out the window and see the mountains. Waffles. But that's what I'm trying to say. You know, I could see somebody posting that here as well. Eat the breakfast at, you know, the hotel, boom, maybe even show the picture. That'd be kind of cool, right? What else would I put in there? Would I have a second thing? Second best? I think, you know, this member kind of thing, I think it's something that you would post, hey, this is the greatest thing.
You have days like this week, like this year or next.
You mean time of the year kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. You don't want information from 10 years ago, right?
Yeah, so a date would be important, right? So date. So that could be underneath here too, right? Maybe right here. February, what's Valentine's Day? 14th? There we go. We went Valentine's Day. Yosemite. There you go. 2018. I don't know. What else would be important if I was posting my favorite experience in Yosemite?
Saw a blue.
What's that?
Some animal.
Animal. Maybe a nature section. Experience. Date. Nature. Yes? Hashtags. Maybe sharing. Social media sharing now, but then you're going to start sending people away. I want them to be here.
Is it useful? A useful button. If it's useful, that means
What's that?
be more useful. Is the information useful?
Mm-hmm.
Usually you see this.
Rate this, maybe a rating? Like the star kind of thing, maybe? Thumb up? I don't know. Yeah, but how do they call that? Is it likes? Is it a like?
No.
Or a heart is the favorite? I don't know. That's a good question. We've got a heart.
Yeah.
Then we got the how do we draw the thumb thing? Is that thumbs up? I don't know. Thumbs up. Or thumbs down. I don't know how to draw that. There you go. Thumbs down. So rating. A rating.